Okay, here we are. This is Mac Boland with Rob Sherrill, IllinoisMatmen.com, with our weekly podcast. Before we get started, let me give a shout out to our main sponsor, GEI Wrestling Apparel. If you want it, go earn it. So start off, obviously, we'll get to the Ironman recap, but start off Class A. Rob, anything noteworthy over the past weekend that occurred in Class A?
Well, shows you the strength, the importance of the strength of schedule. Dakota lost 3 times at the Bobcat duels at Western Dubuque, Iowa. They stay number 1 despite their 10-5 record. Coal City went 0-4 at the Downers South duels. They stay number 3 despite their 6-4 record. Those matches are going to take them a long way by the end of the season. I think it's interesting to note that the top 3 teams in Class A have 9 losses between them. The next 9 teams in the rankings in Class A have a combined total of 2 losses. So schedule means a lot, no matter what classification you're in.
Yeah, and the kind of teams that like Dakota was facing in Iowa and Coal City was facing at Downers Grove were
all 3A teams pretty much. Dakota lost. Dakota's losses were to North Scott, they were to Western Dubuque, and they were to Williamsburg, Iowa, which is a 2A team over there. But they also beat what's a pretty storied program in Iowa, Waterloo West, pretty badly.
Really?
So,
wow.
Which must mean they're down. But if you look at Coal City's losses, of course, they lost to Mount Carmel. That was their first match right out of the gate. Also to Rock Island and to Bartlett, which are 3A opponents, and to Lake Central, Indiana, which is a pretty good-sized school in Northwest Indiana.
Well, I like the fact to see Coal City duel a team like Mount Carmel, because for a long time, since we've been in the 3-class system, obviously not going back to the AA when, Class A Montini, had a national schedule, but seeing a team like Coal City duel Mount Carmel, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Absolutely. I think they have seen that to get closer to teams like Dakota, they're going to have to step up their schedule like Dakota's done, and sometimes when you do that, you have days like you had Saturday.
Yeah, you take your lumps.
It's going to make a difference for them down the road.
Absolutely. And you take your lumps, and I'll even be lead into that even more here when we get to the Ironman. But so Class 2A, anything noteworthy? Obviously, we know Washington was at the Ironman, but any of the other schools like Crystal Lake Central?
We had a couple of really impactful mega duel events downstate. Chatham Glenwood went 5-0 at the Springfield Southeast duels. They're a top 5 team now. In fact, their closest match that day was against a 1A school, Macomb, who they beat 40-34. But they dominated the other 2A competition they wrestled there, and over at the Pekin duels, Pekin, which is of course a 3A school, they went 4-0 and they made their way into the 3A rankings for quite the first time. First time in quite a while. Pekin is now honorable mention, and Bloomington moved up another spot to 4 with some big wins there. They lost to Collinsville by 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Bloomington and Chatham Glenwood pretty much the 2A teams of the week as far as competition they wrestled inside the borders of the state.
Okay, and going to 3A, right off, talk the wheeling duels, which Marion Catholic, which moved up from 2A to 3A. We talk again, about having a rough day.
They had kind of a rough 2 days.
2 days,
course,
right?
losing
Yeah.
to Mount Carmel on Friday night, and then taking 3 losses on Saturday to Sandburg, Stevenson, and Wheeling, which they did last year as well. But all those matches were very competitive, and really there were no blowouts that day. So it was what you'd expect from 4 top 15 teams.
Yep.
Even though Marion went 0-3, they did get some big individual wins in that quad. So even though they dropped a few spots, it's still what's going to wind up being, I think, a pretty productive weekend for them.
Mm-hmm. And I hate to use the word blowout, but the kind of the shocker, the Lockport Lincoln Way West duel, where Lockport won 10 out of 14 matches, I think it was.
That took that was the highlight of this past Tuesday. 40-18 was the final in favor of Lockport, and even Brian Glidden said they may be in a class by themselves, which is saying something for Lincoln Way West, which is a legitimate top 5 team. But with big swing matches here. Pirandozzi, the freshman from Lockport, pitting Kennedy at 120. Asaf in his first match back beat Simon in a major at 32. Brandon Ramos beat DiBenedetto at by a point at 138.
Big match.
And another 3-2 match at 182 with Peyton Fernandez beating Trevor Schmidt. It's worth noting that Baylor Fernandez was not in the lineup for Lockport that night due to illness. So, but still, 40-18, pretty much a statement win.
Yeah, yes, definitely a statement win. And actually tonight, as we're broadcasting, Sandburg and Lockport are dueling.
Yes, they are. Yeah, several big matches tonight. Byron at Lena Winslow, that's kind of for second place in that regional.
Yeah, Class A.
Glenbard North is at Wheaton North tonight, and maybe Wheaton North breaks the streak.
Change of the guard.
Probably will if some of Glenbard North's other recent results are any indication.
Mm-hmm.
And the Battle of Crystal Lake tonight. Crystal Lake Central is at Crystal Lake South, and Crystal Lake South is 9-4, so that's going to be a real good match.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now let's go ahead and obviously the big major national event that took place. We had the Ironman last weekend. I was out there, and as far as the Illinois teams, we knew going in that they probably weren't, like Oak Park is nowhere near what they were, 2 or 3 years ago. Montini, pretty good individual tournament setting team, but's already taken on a fair amount of dual meet losses. Marmion Academy, graduation losses. Washington's still pretty good. Of all of them, they probably lost less through graduation. But to put it in perspective, team-wise now, and I'll talk about the individual results here shortly, but team-wise, Blair Academy, which, I think you and I both figured they were the prohibitive favorite in the tournament.
Won by 70. So
yeah, and
which is not something you often see in the Ironman.
No, but to put it in perspective, yeah, I think they had 186 team points. You could take all 4 of the Illinois team scores, add them together, and they still wouldn't pass Blair Academy up in that tournament.
Well, they wouldn't be much more. I'll tell you that. I think we talked about we didn't think we'd have a top 10 finish team-wise from Illinois, and it turned out we didn't.
No.
Montini finished 13th. That was the highest of the Illinois finishes, and Washington just a spot behind them at 14th. Mm-hmm. Oak Park River Forest was 22nd, and Marmion was 24th. But 89 teams entered somebody, so.
Yeah, well, it was a big field. This is one of the deeper Ironman fields, and some of the teams that like last year I kind of heard of Malvern Prep. They had a pretty good tournament. Lake Highland Prep, first year in the tournament, did pretty well, brought 11 guys, 7 of them placed. Paris Graham also did well. St. Edward's is back now. St. Edward is back now. As far as Illinois individuals, and we talked about this last week, we felt the single best chance for an Illinois title would be Warner at 195, and he had a phenomenal tournament, outscoring his opponents 43-1. He won a tech fall, 2 major decisions, and a 7-0 decision in the finals, dominated the tournament, and, kind of like we expected, and brought home a title.
Yeah, he did what we expected him to do, maybe even a little more dominant than we expected. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he'd only give up 1 point in 4 matches. No matter how strong the weight class is, and it wasn't particularly strong, but Walsh Jesuit is a place that strange things have happened over the years.
There's always those unknowns that come in there.
But he's an elite wrestler, and he proved it.
Oh yeah. Now Jacob Warner, he's been an Ironman placer, runner-up last year, lost to Nick Reenan in the finals. Big win over Marmion's Nathan Traxler. This year, pulled it out. Iowa bound. One of the better wrestlers so far that Illinois has produced, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing him wrestle at the college level. And actually, if he can make the world team, that's a bonus.
Total of 9 wrestlers from Illinois did place in the top 8 at the Ironman, and everybody, all 4 of our teams had at least 2.
Yeah.
Montini had 3 placers. Will Lewan was 3rd at 145. Real Woods, who lost twice to Madrigal in the tournament, wound up finishing 4th at 126. And Joey Melendez finished 5th at 113. That was the 3 placers for Montini.
Real quick on Real Woods, though, he took kind of a surprising loss in the quarters to Madrigal, and Madrigal tilted him twice. I think it was 10-4 or whatever. Came back, and for Illinois wrestlers who are listening to this, if you don't know who Jordan Decatur is, he's a nationally ranked wrestler, and Woods put an absolute beatdown on Decatur in the wrestlebacks. Majored him. I think it was 12-3.
Actually 13-2.
13-2.
In my mind, that's one of the most surprising results of the entire tournament, because obviously Decatur reached the semifinals, lost to lost to Silva.
Yeah.
And that, of course, one of the toughest matches in any tournament is that consolation semifinal where you have to come back right away.
Yeah.
And he just didn't have it in that match, and which really surprised me given his track record.
Oh yeah, and guy with a great resume and total stud last year at 120, and then Woods just absolutely stomped him. It was right. It was a head shaker, like you say. I don't think either one of us saw that.
I think you do just you occasionally see that happen to that guy that loses a semifinal and has to come back right away.
Yeah,
and especially if the guy you're wrestling is is a guy with Woods' pedigree.
Sure, and Woods was an Ironman champ last year and finished 4th this year. To give an idea, we'll talk. That 126-pound weight class was just insane. But you mentioned the 3 from Montini, and I think Ragusin was probably close to placing.
Yeah, he was a match away.
He was about a match away. So Montini, and that's what they're built for. They probably coming into the, looking way ahead, the individual state championship, they've got a good chance of placing, 5 guys maybe. They could have a very good individual state tournament, but they're just not, they don't have the depth to be like the dual team monster they used to be.
Yeah, as we mentioned, each of the other 3 teams that were at the Ironman did place 2, so everybody had some success.
Yep.
In addition to Warner for Washington, Dak Punky was 4th at 120. Oak Park River Forest, 2 placers. We've already mentioned Madrigal, of course, finishing 3rd at 126. Jason Renneria was 7th at 132. And for Marmion, Anthony Cheloni was 5th at 138. And Jake Polka, good for him, finished 8th at 145. So we had 2 placers from Illinois at 126 and 2 also at 145.
Yeah, and in Renneria's case, and that was a match that I watched, probably didn't have the kind of tournament he wanted to. He actually took Donathan down and was leading in that match, and then things started to go downhill, gave up some more points. Then he got into the wrestlebacks, lost, with a second period reversal and back points to Sherman from Blair. Ended up 7th, probably not kind of the tournament he wanted to have, a 2-time Ironman finalist. One of the things, I'm not talking about non-Illinois wrestlers, Zach Donathan from Mason, Ohio. Now, he took Austin Gomez to the limit last year in the semifinals at the Dvorak. Still coming into the tournament, I think he was like a 6th seed. And I honestly, I did not think he'd beat Renneria. I did not, I thought it'd be a good match, but I did not think he'd beat Renneria. Beat Renneria, beat Willits, and then in the finals against Mitch Moore, who number 3 ranked wrestler in the country. And I thought, man, there is no way he's going to beat Moore. Managed to extend the match in overtime, and Moore, who has a very aggressive style, kind of tried to force the action, got slid by, got taken down, boom, and there you have it. Donathan, Ironman champ, and in a huge upset at 132.
Yeah, Donathan was the 7th seed. Probably one of, if I had a 3 stars of the match, he'd certainly have been one of them. Probably my number 1 star would have been Moises Guillen, who was also a number 7 seed and won it. He beat the top 3 seeds. Nobody else did that.
Yeah. Well, in this year's Ironman, Carr going down. Nobody saw that. He had to come back in 2 matches and unfortunately couldn't extend that magic all the way to the finals. Now, Labriola, Beard, I wasn't surprised at them. Both of them have been just absolutely monster. The 2 tag kids at 106 and 113, one in an overtime win. And then the other one in a bizarre match where he caught Vasquez from California. It was a close match up to a point, and he just caught him and got the pin.
Uh-huh.
But we always see and Hovis. There's the Hovis from Poe, and Poe had a pretty good tournament. Poe over Carr was.
Nobody should be surprised that Hovis win if Hovis wins a match. He's a money wrestler, and he always has been.
But again, Carr, and Carr was in the pound for pound rankings. Carr was a prohibitive favorite at that weight class coming in, but Hovis just, and you could see Carr really struggled in the quarters and the semis, and it was kind of like, here we go.
No, Hovis is a grinder, and he's not. And now that he's at Poway, he doesn't have to be the show anymore.
Right,
he's just one of the guys.
Yeah, which is, would you say maybe about the third best program in California behind Buchanan and Clovis?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. So
pretty much year in, year out, and it looks like this is going to be year in.
Yeah, they're. And of course, California's got some big events. Labriola another guy he was the #1 seed coming in, and he beat a pretty decent guy from Malvern Prep and Caroli in the finals. 6-3, kind of. That's one of the reasons that Malvern Prep is become nationally rankable is Caroli going from Blair to Malvern. Right. And it's so funny when you see those schools with just well, it's like Lawson, Kyle Lawson in the middle of that St. Paris Graham lineup, and he had to move.
Yeah.
And would you see, teams like that have that, that have that absolutely sick depth of talent, and again, for Oak Park River Forest this year coming in, and, a lot of the guys on that team this year, they've got a lot of young guys, but they've got a lot of junior seniors who are either first-year starters or a little bit more inexperienced. And that's why, you saw a lot of those guys go down 0-2 within the first 2 days. And, by the quarterfinals, Oak Park was down to 2 wrestlers.
Yep. No, it's that's a real awakening for guys that, haven't been in this situation before.
Yeah, and again, I say for people who have never been to an Ironman, it's one of those things that if you ever get the chance, just like the Clash, which I'll be at here at the end of the month, one of those things you go to see, and the depth of national talent there is amazing. And the other thing is you can't walk literally 10 yards without running into a college coach who's there recruiting. And, this year was no different. They were all over the place.
Yeah, they were all there for sure.
Okay, so let's see. That covers the Ironman. Anything else significant maybe that's happened that we missed, or so we covered the wheeling, covered the Ironman.
I think we got most of the really important stuff.
Okay.
But,
okay, so now looking ahead, obviously we have the Rex Whitlatch coming up. Now, a little bit downfield this year. No Montini. Sandberg will be there. OPRF will be there. A lot of times OPRF sends a fair amount of JV guys this tournament too to get experience. Lyons Township, I believe, is still back. Anything in particular you're looking forward to at the Rex?
I'm pulling. I'm going to pull up the field right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, Well, normally Mick sends me his pre-seeds and asks me to look over them, but I haven't seen him this year. But so I guess so he's on his own. Or it is we do have it's a 24 team event. Yes, we do have Oak Park, and we do have Sandburg. Stevenson got into the tournament this year. That's a major addition. Of course, as far as
I believe LT's still there,
and also Deerfield also.
Deerfield's there, yes.
Year.
Deerfield's there.
So that's two major additions from the ranks of the ranked teams, and the other top 25 3A team in the field is Lyons Township. So there will be 5 top 25 teams from 3A at Hinsdale Central. Fenton, which is a 2A top 25 team. Brother Rice, 2A top 25 team. Geneseo, 2A top 25. Lamont, 2A top 25. So we have 5 top 25 3A teams in the Hinsdale Central and 4 top 25 2A teams.
And there'll be a lot of good individual wrestlers there. Haven't looked over all the rank guys yet to see what matchups we've got. I know Lyons Township's got about 3 or 4 guys who are state ranked, highly ranked in the state at certain weight classes. Obviously, we've got Brucky, who is like the number 2 ranked 195 pounder in the country, right behind Jacob Warner. And unfortunately, I don't think the two of them will see each other this year, but that would be a great match.
Yeah, sure would. So, yeah, I do. Normally by this time I would have I would have a list of seeds. I don't this year, but I think with Deerfield and Stevenson being new to the field, that obviously adds some depth, particularly at the lower weights.
Right. Yeah. Both schools. And Deerfield, of course, one of those schools that just over the past 5 years has had a huge upswing. Starting with that state championship that they had, the individual state title they had from Emmerich, and then making it to dual team state. And that year where they took Lockport, right down to the last match that year.
Sure.
Very impressive job they've done there. Anything else we've got coming up? Obviously, the Rex Whitlatch is a big one.
The rest, well, we have, that's just one of 15 tournaments we have this week, and 4 of them of those 15 start tomorrow night. Of course, the Whitlatch being one. Another. The Russ Herb at Glenbrook South starts tomorrow night. Wheeling will be the favorite there. The Harvard tournament starts tomorrow evening, and so does Mascoutah downstate for some of the downstate teams. Collinsville, O'Fallon, Quincy, Cahokia, Carbondale, and all the folks down there.
What class is Mascoutah?
It'll be mostly 2A teams.
2A teams, okay.
But you'll see O'Fallon and Collinsville and Quincy there. So there is some 3A representation.
What else?
And well, as far as 3A tournaments go, we also the Lake Park tournament is Saturday. The That's it. That tournament got a little tougher this year with some new teams. Lincoln Way East, I know, is one of them. I remember looking through my schedules and thinking, wow, there's some new teams going to Lake Park that I don't remember seeing there before. So that field has been upgraded considerably. As far as AA events, we've already touched on Harvard. Glenbard South's tournament is Saturday. So is Metamora, Rich East, and I forgot to mention Simeon's bragging rights tournament, also taking place that day. Springfield, another good 2A tournament. LaSalle and Pontiac, a couple of the top teams there. As far as the 1A tournaments, the Clinton decided to take their tournament from a 2A day down to a 1-day tournament.
Okay.
So that'll be just Saturday. Erie is also going Saturday, as well as the Cumberland tournament, Stillman Valley, and Tolono Unity. So that's our roster of tournaments. Actually, Lockport and Sandburg are wrestling tomorrow night, not
tonight. Okay, tomorrow night. Okay.
That's tomorrow night. Conan is at Barrington tomorrow night, and the first of a couple of big nights for Marmion is tomorrow night. They'll be at Montini tomorrow night. They'll be at Mount Carmel Saturday morning. So that's a couple of big duels for them.
Yes.
Huntley and DePaul Prep are also at the quad Saturday morning at Mount Carmel. Wheaton North host fresh off their duel with Glenbard North. They'll be back to hosting a quad on Saturday morning with Lincoln Way West, Barrington, and Cary Grove coming in. And the two teams at the top of 2A square off at Yorkville on Saturday. Washington will be going against Crystal Lake Central.
Wow.
St. Rita is also a part of that quad. That's at Yorkville Saturday.
Okay. Okay, so I also believe now Marmion Academy, we talked about this before, one of the many teams of our top teams that have taken the serious graduation hit, though they already have a win over Providence Catholic this year, I believe.
I believe they do. I didn't have let's see, do I have all the results from that quad? AAA teams. Yes, that's right. Marmion beat Providence 37-19 in that quad, and Providence, of course, beat Montini that same day. So yes, Marmion has Marmion's two best wins this year over Providence and over Wheaton North. So.
And that's a big win over Wheaton North.
Yeah.
So looking like, with Mount Carmel probably still, I think, the team to beat in the Chicago Catholic League Championships, which are, now we're looking, kind of way ahead.
Yeah, I think so. They've got numbers. It's just a question of how strong individually those numbers are.
Yeah, in Montini, they have, like the talented individuals, but just not the overall team depth.
Right.
And, which they've already taken a few, dual meet losses already this season. And just throwing this out there, I don't know if Andre is going to make it here, but we're going to try and bring, for all you Illinois Matmen fans, we're going to try and broadcast the Chicago Catholic League championships this year. Hopefully, as a live webcast, we're working on it right now, and it's looking like it's going to happen. But we'll bring more on that. Like I said, if he makes it in here. Now, Rob, you
sounds like he may be in the house.
All right. Well, let's see.
Maybe not. Maybe I was hearing things.
I messaged him. We'll see if he makes it in. He had some kind of basketball thing going on earlier tonight. Now you're working on your national rankings too, correct?
Yes. I've just finished a set, and without I believe the issue went to press yesterday.
Okay.
Let's see what I can. I'll tell you. I'll at least tell you who's in.
Well, I'm sure the Iron Man had
got four. I've got. I have 3 Illinois teams this week. Lockport and Washington are new.
Okay, good.
That's your spoiler alert until you get your issue.
Well, I think one of the things too, national wise, because I believe Lockport is still competing in the Cheesehead.
Yes, they are. They're in 3 out of state tournaments this year.
Are they in the Powerade again?
Yes, they are going back to the Powerade.
Good.
And yes, they are going to the Cheesehead. So
yeah, and that's good. Because they had the big win over Lincoln Way West, but I want to see how they do in that kind of setting. At a tournament like the Cheesehead, like the Powerade. Mount Carmel obviously had a great performance at the Cheesehead last year. Which is a kind of a goofy format.
Well, they were 6th last year, so they've shown already they can do it. I don't know how many guys they're going to get, how many rounds in that tournament. They're more of a balanced team, but I think it's certainly possible they could get maybe 4 guys or so to a medal. I think if they did that, they'd be they'd certainly be in the top 10 and maybe better than that.
Yeah. Now outside of Illinois, looking obviously again, Blair Academy is pretty much the consensus number 1 across the country this year, team wise. Depending.
They certainly are at this point.
Yeah. I was
after 1 week of the season.
Yeah, well, it's early, but they've shown so far, and they have duels coming up. Now, they did great in the tournament format, but they have some pretty tough duels coming up. Wyoming Sem looks to be a little bit down.
I do have the Powerade field up here, and Wyoming Seminary is in that.
Yeah.
So is North Allegheny, which I think is probably going to be the biggest competition from the southwestern part of the state. Them along with Kiski, along with Penn Trafford. Those are probably the top teams in the team race.
Right. There we go.
I guess I better mention Bergen Catholic.
Yeah, well, Bergen Catholic is obviously
they're going to be there, of course.
Yeah.
Penfield, New York is coming. Great Section 5 team from there. We'll see how Frankie Gissendanner does at 152. Yeah. Bound Brook, New Jersey is in. Of course, they'll have Glasgow and Lewis.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be high up in the team standings. And so I think Lockport does have a chance to finish top 10.
Yeah.
There are some really good tournament style teams in this field, though.
Yeah, and Lockport's got some outstanding individuals. I mean, I think their strength right now is dual meet just because of the depth of their lineup, but they do have enough good individuals. You know, we'll see. You know, we'll see, and that's a tough tournament.
Yeah, I think realistically speaking, if they place 4,
that's about what I thought. 4. I mean, Timmons, I think's got a good shot, obviously.
Tucker, of course, is a defending champion.
He's a defending champ at heavyweight. You know, they've got Assad's decent. Andre, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hey, Andre.
Ignore my video picture. I'm driving a car.
That's all right.
All right.
So let's see now. The Powerade, is that this weekend or next?
No, it is actually the 29th and 30th. So
29th and 30th. Okay, so it's a Clash.
Same
as the Clash.
As Granite City and a day ahead of the Clash.
And the Clash, right. And then I believe Beast of the East is coming up.
Yes, that'll be Saturday and Sunday.
Which is another monster freaking tournament. Blair, I know, goes to that one.
Yes, they do.
Looking at your top nationally ranked teams, you know, we've seen the resurgence last year, and then, of course, this year with St. Edward. Kind of the emergence of Lake Highland Prep in Florida. Blair, again, the number 1. I'm assuming you've got Buchanan either 2 or 3.
I have Buchanan. Yeah, there was very little movement among really the top 16 spots this week. Buchanan, I did move Buchanan up to 2, St. Edward up to 3.
Okay.
Lake Highland stays put at 4. And Graham drops to 5. Clovis, Bergen Catholic, and Becca High stay where they are at 6, 7, and 8. The big movers this week were Malvern Prep, which debuts in the top 10. Yeah.
Well, they had a very impressive
and Wyoming Seminary stays number 10. So.
Yeah. No.
Really, you will not see very little movement when you see the new list in 15 my top 16 spots. They're almost exactly the same.
Yeah, like we said before. Now, Malvern Prep had a very, very impressive Ironman. And the other neat thing is, you know, we talked about, well, Beast of the East is a biggie. We talked about the Powerade, but in the Clash, several of those teams are in the Clash with Lake Highland Prep, St. Edward, and Buchanan. Buchanan, the returning defending champs, and a whole slew of Illinois teams, and that'll be coming up at the end of the month.
I'll pull up the Beast right now and see who else is in it. Not a whole lot of Ohio teams. I do think I know Brecksville goes. I'm pretty sure Massillon Perry is going. But okay, here's the team list. It's long, so bear with me. Bergen Catholic, Bethlehem Catholic, Blair, Brecksville is going. So there's a couple of the Ironman teams are there.
Sure.
Christiansburg is there. Colonial Forge, two of the top teams in Virginia. Yeah. DePaul and Don Bosco Prep from New Jersey are there. It's kind of the tournament is kind of the unofficial start to the season for New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, Hanover Park. So we'll see Ramo there. Mm-hmm. Quite a few New Jersey schools. McDonough from Maryland is there, although they're not an individuals team this year. Paramus, New Jersey. So we'll see Kyle Cochran. Mm-hmm. And Massillon Perry is there.
So yeah,
yeah, it's the usual
Yeah.
pretty eclectic field.
yeah, it's a tough conference.
St. Paul's from Maryland.
So Bergen Catholic, New Jersey this year, better dual meet team or better individual tournament team?
I think they're slightly better as a tournament team. They have they have the great freshman at 113, Robert Howard.
Howard,
Who
yeah,
had a great run at the Super 32.
yeah,
And some guys that they had a couple other guys step up at the Super 32 and do really well. Chris Boca did a great job for him there, but
yeah. I don't think they're as good as.
I think they're a better tournament team, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite as deep as they were last year, but still pretty
they graduated
good.
three
studs.
They graduated a bunch of multi-time state.
Yeah. So just off the top of your head,
Soriano gone, Morello gone,
Morello,
gone.
Yeah. So just off the top of your head, and do you think anybody has a chance of knocking off Blair?
I think it's going to be closer, just because I think there are more individuals that might pick off an individual of theirs or two, but I don't know. I don't know that they'll win by 70, but I think they'll win by a fair amount.
Sure. Or a dual meet format. I don't, given the depth of their lineup, I'm wondering if anybody could touch them in a dual meet.
Probably not. I mean, I think they have some weights that are, that are kind of gettable. I mean, if you go, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the Ironman and look at this. Not everybody they've got.
Oh no, they have some weak spots. Household name
anymore.
Right.
And of course,
Marola, Sherman, Singletary, all good, but yeah, there are guys in there that are beatable, definitely.
Of course, losing Corrali, they didn't exactly reload there, although Leo Tarantino is not an awful replacement.
No.
Of course, they're new at 106.
But he's not bad, though. Their Contreras good. He's not bad.
In Contreras decent. He'll be a good dual meet wrestler.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see how they, who goes at 20 or 26 between Madara or Cannon.
Right. Or Cannon, right.
Find it, obviously, they're not great at 45. They're not great at 82. They're not great at heavy. So they do have a few. They do have a few average kids.
Yeah.
But and
it's still awful tough lineup.
Probably. But.
In dual meet format,
are you gonna beat him 7 matches?
Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
Not.
Probably not.
6
Probably
matches.
not.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right, Andre, you there?
I'm right here. Listen to you experts just break down the whole United States.
Okay, well, we were discussing earlier. I just kind of teased a little bit, but since we got you on here now, what we're trying to do as far as the Chicago Catholic League Championships, we didn't have any webcasts last year until the CNN individual state and then the webcast of the dual team state. But we really want to try and go to De La Salle and cover what is admittedly the toughest conference in the state of Illinois and their championships this year. So go ahead and throw it out there, buddy.
Well, the bottom line is we are going to go to De La Salle High School and cover the Chicago Catholic League Championship this year. It was a hole in the wrestling community that did not get covered last year, and we're going to do that. the beauty of it is it's going to be filmed by JD Oliva and Video Affinity and his company. So it'll be run through that. So we don't have to worry about the video quality at all. And we're going to have it, our broadcasters would be myself, just Mac Bolan, and the great Rob Sherrill. So hopefully that's acceptable to everybody in the state of Illinois. They're pretty used to us, like us or not. A couple controversial guys, and then there's Rob Sherrill, who everyone loves. So,
right. I'm never controversial.
Not since you wrote that first book. We've been pretty under the weather, but you know, the Chicago Catholic League, and I don't know if I need to name all the teams, but you know, the premier characters, Providence Catholic, Mount Carmel, St. Rita, Marmion, Montini Catholic, Fenwick, De La Salle. They're not Gordon Tech anymore. They're DePaul.
Yeah.
DePaul.
Go figure.
I don't know, university,
yeah,
whatever.
No,
but well, but the bottom line is, you have 3 to 4 on any given year. Yeah. Nationally ranked or national level teams. How many, Rob, are national level this year? And tons of individuals.
Tons of individuals. This year it'll be more the strength of the individuals than the teams.
And it's you know, probably the most tradition-rich conference in the state, in any sport, much less wrestling. So, and it's just a great championship. So we're going to cover, Mac, the semis.
And the finals.
And the finals.
And we'll get the interviews.
We're going to interview everybody that's of importance around there. We're going to interview wrestlers.
Coaches.
This tournament tends to have a lot of their alumni wrestlers come back to watch it. So we'll get some of those guys that are wrestling in college, some that are no longer wrestling in college, but used to wrestle. It's a one-day tournament. Well, yeah, it's a one-day tournament. I think Robbie needs to move to 2, but that's what it is still. So everything will happen, and it's the 3rd weekend in January. And I'm not looking at the date in front of me, but it's the 3rd. I want to say
January 21st.
21st, yeah. So that's a Saturday.
Now, I haven't mentioned anything yet to anybody, but you know what? I want to give a shout out to Bryce Brill. You know, obviously the tragedy of his college career coming to an end because of injuries. And, you know, just such a great kid, such a hard competitor. If, you know, it's one of those things that you wish, you know, just if we could have seen a healthy Bryce at college, because talking to these people, I know how well he did against Jason Surtis, NCAA champ, in the practice room.
Well, you first have to qualify who Bryce Brill is, Mac.
Yeah, well, from Mount Carmel. Well, started at Marmion Academy, went to Mount Carmel, 3-time state champ, runner-up, went to Northwestern University, you know, and just he struggled through the injury bug. And actually, you know what? If he and his dad, Randy, show up at the Catholic League Championship, there's an interview right there. I would love to get them on.
I'm good. You just blew the top off the water. I was going to make that happen. So, but Bryce doesn't know it was going to happen.
Okay.
Randy didn't know it was going to happen. But now I guess they do now.
Well, that's what I want. I mean, I think we all want. I mean,
I'm going to reach out to a lot of the I'm going to reach out to a lot of people, and whoever's there. Pretty much, if you're listening to this podcast and you were, you know, a Lawless Award winner or a multiple-time conference Catholic League champion, or even a state champion, it's a good chance you're going to get a microphone stuck in your face that day.
Yep.
So get ready, because we really want to promote this conference tournament. Not that it's the only conference tournament in the state, but it is, for the last couple of years, the premier tournament conference-wise, I think. Well, and stop me if I'm wrong, Rob, at any point.
Well, yes, it will have some competition that day, but because a lot of tournaments of the conference tournaments are moving to that but it's certainly one of the best ones, no question.
I would say for a while the Southwest Suburban Conference Championship was the king. When you had,
it's
when
also
Lincoln,
on the same day.
Yeah, when Lincoln Way Central was tough for those few years there, made the Elite Eight. Sandburg was a top team. Lincoln Way West was still good. Lockport was still good. But I think when the Chicago Catholic League last year, with the addition of Montini Catholic and Marmion Academy, kind of passed the Southwest Suburban Conference Championship up. I mean, as far as the toughest conference within the state.
I don't think there's anything to even debate on that. No offense to the Southwest, but I mean, anytime you've got a conference with 3 nationally ranked teams in it,
four nationally ranked teams last year, but a little bit not quite as tough this year, but still within the state of Illinois, I would say still the toughest conference.
Exactly. So we're going to premiere that conference that day, January 21st, and Mac is going to, or myself is going to go online at IllinoisMatmen.com and create a thread concerning that conference and keep it clean. You guys, I haven't deleted anybody in a while, but just some conversations about it, possibly, tell us what matches you want us to feature, and all that, in the conference tournament. We're going to create a poll on, and most of those teams are 3A, if I'm not mistaken, right, Rob?
From
Fenwick's 2A, and I think De La Salle's 2A.
From every class.
Yeah,
they come from every class.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we will create a poll on every board: 3A, 2A, 1A, and we just want to generate some talk and really look forward to it.
The teams from the top of the standings will certainly be 3A, but they come from with Brother Rice being in 2A.
Yeah.
They'll have a couple of guys,
right?
In our broadcast window.
So we'll get some. Speaking of Brother Rice, we'll get some words of wisdom from the great Bill Weck, and it'll be fun. So everyone, circle your calendar for January 21st. Finals usually start around 3 o'clock there, so semis will be around noon, 11 o'clock noon. We'll be there around 9 o'clock and all that. If there is a fee for this broadcast, it'll be nominal to the viewer. Right now, at this point, we're trying to
do it for free.
No,
we're trying to do it for free.
If we can't, it'll be something that you can afford, which would be something like $5 or $10.
Yeah.
And if you can't afford $5 or $10, then you'll just have to wait for the.
Go there.
You'll just have to go and wait for the.
Let's not even go there.
Okay. So, but that's our plan. Hopefully, you guys like our plan, and you're going to appreciate the work and effort that we're putting in behind the scenes to make this happen. This does have the full support of the teams in the conference.
Yes.
So we're still in the background doing some legwork, but right now that we have not had anybody that did not want us to do it. Everyone's excited. The coaches are excited.
And last year's tournament was spectacular. I mean, some of the, not just the finals match, but the semifinals matches were phenomenal because you had so many nationally ranked kids. And again, we're not just talking about the teams, but there's so many individuals in this tournament that are great. And we may see the rematch from the duel that took place a little while ago between Luann and Thomas at 145 pounds.
Can I tell you something, Mac?
Yeah.
You're and don't get offended. You're kind of new to these Catholic League wars. I have never been to a Chicago Catholic League tournament that was not phenomenal.
Oh, they've all been phenomenal.
Never. There's just, even if it's not the Premier League and the thing on a particular year.
Oh, no.
The tournament, the tournament has always been.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because you throw the records out in that conference. You throw the records out. You got Rita against Carmel. You got Providence against Marmion, who where the head coach of Marmion used to be a state champion for Providence. I mean, it's just all type of storylines there. You have Izzy Martinez in one chair going against you know,
Keith Healy
Keith Healy.
And now Mount Carmel's newest head coach, Alex Sertzis.
Yeah, there's some new young guns. Mike Boyd is in the chair over there at St. Rita. Speaking of St. Rita, they got a guy that's getting ready to go into the history books.
Yeah,
and possibly as a 4-time Chicago Catholic champ.
Very possible. I would say he's a favorite to do it.
He is a favorite, but
yeah.
It's the Chicago Catholic League, and anybody can get God on any day. And of course, we will premiere the Tony Lawless Award. That's the award that goes to the top senior in the conference, which O'Connor will be a favorite to win.
I would think so.
And there's also the Lawless Award for the Coach of the Year. So we're going to highlight and bring to the Illinois and the national wrestling community. My goal is to get people nationally to watch. And this is not just a podcast. This is a video cast.
A webcast,
so so you will be able to see what's going on. And I always like those better than just listening. Listening is good, but visually is even better. So that's what we got going, Mac and Rob.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yep. Okay. So everybody who is watching tonight, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We will be back next Thursday, same time. And we're going to try and follow the same format. We'll do the recap, discussion, and then preview. And, of course, down the road, we've got the Clash coming up, which is monster. And there are a lot of Illinois teams that compete in the Clash. Haven't seen the brackets released yet, but it should make for a really good one. So this is Mac Boland for Andre and for Rob. And I'm going to say good night, everybody. And, again, if you have any feedback, more than welcome to have you post it. And see you next time.
Adios.